Hello and welcome. I have our invocation today, and before I begin with this blessing for the day that we mourn, I just wanted to say that I always look forward to doing this service as a clergy person because I've had the gift of being with people as they've made this decision and prepared for it to be an anatomical gift. I've been with them as they have said goodbye to their loved ones. And I have personally been through the process with my own mother as well as several of the people in my church. And it is an honor to be able to be on this side and to give the blessing for the work that you do and the gifts that people are willing to give, literally of their whole selves. So here is the blessing for today. Today we are drawn into remembrance. The complexity of love and loss both warms our hearts and chills our bones. Invisible connections are revealed just as the light of the sun illuminates the lines of the web. We see that our lives are connected to those who are no longer here. Blessed are we who acknowledge the impressions made by those who've passed. A child's nose, a joke carried on, a chair left in our name, a story that we now tell. Blessed are you who have learned to make sense of a world that doesn't make sense without them. And blessed are you with grief present still, who carry the weight of surviving a loved one, of keeping the memories and sharing the stories. You, God, know the whole of it. You know the sufferings, the joy, the hopes, the winding paths in every moment of our souls, movement of our souls. And we ask that you restore them even as you receive theirs. Welcome them in with a kind embrace that we wish we could give to them. Blessed is the time they were given and the time we now have, whether in life or in death. Love is there.
As director of the Anatomical Gift Program, I would like to welcome everyone, especially the families of our donors, to this memorial celebration. One announcement before we move forward: our program for the ceremony was already printed when we received word from the VFW that one of our donors had already received his military honors. Therefore, we will not be presenting colors in today's ceremony. Above the door to our anatomy lab, there is a plaque that reads, Mortui Vivos Docent. It loosely translates to the dead teach the living. I have had the honor to learn the intricacies of the human body from individuals who have donated themselves for me and my students to learn from since 1991. 2/3 of my life has been spent in the stewardship for a donor's last request. When I first took anatomy as a student, I had the same reservations that many of our students share. I was worried about how to dissect. Was I doing it right? Am I going to ruin something? My professor provided me this wisdom at that time. There is no wrong way to dissect. The wrong way is not to dissect, not to learn, because then you are not respecting the last wish of that donor. As anatomy professors, we provide service to three groups: first, to the mission of the institution; second, to the students; and most importantly, third, to be advocates to our donors' last wish. For without them, we would not have had the honor of spending time learning from them. Each and every day, I learned something new from all of our donors in the dissection hall. Less than 1% of the world's population has the unique opportunity to learn anatomy from another human being. To some of our students, it is their first encounter with death, and their experience becomes transformational. For all students, it is their first patient experience. They begin the process of clinical problem solving by learning to discover where structures are located. They begin to develop their clinical skills of palpation and pattern recognition by touching and feeling the joints, muscles, and nerves that they will be treating. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest what is planted. Truly, I tell you that in our anatomy program, the dead teach the living by sowing the seeds of knowledge so that our students will gain wisdom and insight that will mold and shape them into caring and compassionate servants. Now I'd like to welcome the president of Northeast College of Health Sciences, Dr. Michael Meston.
We gather in gratitude for a rare generosity, the choice to teach beyond one's lifetime. Our donors are not subjects. They are, in many ways, our first patients. They do not replace lectures or simulations. Rather, they reveal the human story behind the textbook, variation, history, and stories written in tissue, scars and repair, age and adaptation, the quiet record of a life. Their final act is a lesson in courage and service, and it invites us to become worthy of that trust. To the families and loved ones here today, thank you. You allowed learning to continue at a moment when most of us would turn inward. Your trust strengthens our students' hands, sharpens their judgment, and enlarges their compassion. What is learned in our Anatomy Center does not stay in the laboratory. It moves outwards into clinics and communities, becoming steadier procedures, clearer decisions, and kinder care for people who may never know the names we honor today, but who will feel their impact. I want to recognize the faculty and staff who steward this sacred work, who model reverence in every step, from the quiet way each lab is prepared to the care with which each donor is received and returned. And to our students, you honor these donors by staying attuned to the selfless act that made your learning possible, and by carrying that spirit forward in how you meet every patient and in the care that you will deliver. Today is a memorial, and it is also a promise. We promise to carry this gift forward in how we study, how we practice, and how we serve. We promise to remember that behind every structure learned is a life lived, loved by others, and still teaching us. Let lab accuracy be joined to empathy, precision to patience, and knowledge to service. As we continue, I invite us to hold two commitments: gratitude for those who made this learning possible, and responsibility for what we will do because of it. With that spirit, it is my honor to welcome the reflections that follow and invite our next speaker, Dr. Arar, to continue this shared remembrance.
th century English philosopher and physician John Locke stated that our dominant memories shape the very nature of who we are. And it's those memories that evoke the most amount of emotion, such as love, life, loss, family, tradition, ritual, that are especially poignant. I'd like to share one of those dominant memories with you all today that hopefully will encapsulate the spirit of our gathering. My first experience with death as a young boy was the loss of a treasured family friend who had died the result of an industrial accident. This gentleman was the anchor of his family and a pillar in the community, and it left us absolutely gutted. After his service, we all proceeded to our vehicles, and rather than drive to the cemetery for the burial, we went to the individual's house, and a young boy no older than me got out of the car, opened up the doors of the hearse, stood in the middle of the road, looking at his home, in which all of the doors and the windows were left open. And if I was to close my eyes for a moment, I could still see the curtains blowing in the springtime breeze. He stayed there for a moment, closed the doors, went back in the car, and then we all proceeded to the cemetery. Years later, it was me in the middle of the road, opening up the doors of the hearse, looking at my childhood home, locking eyes with my 9-year-old daughter, who stayed behind, opening all the doors and the windows of my home after the passing of my mother. This is a tradition that is followed by many different cultures and belief systems around the world, in the idea that the spirit of the departed will linger around for a little while and complete their unfinished business. 40 days later, we would have a feast. We would open up the doors and the windows to the house again and allow that spirit to find their eternal resting place. The beauty of that tradition is that it provides a template as to how to grieve. It allows us to mourn collectively and move forward. I believe that your loved ones fulfilled their covenant to lay bare their corporeal selves in the service of others, whose oath it will be to serve others, thus continuing a sacred ritual of silent benevolence that has spanned centuries. We feel their presence. We have learned from their selfless tutelage. Every student in this room has formed a new, foundational, dominant memory that has shaped the very nature of their being. But the work of your loved ones is finished. They honor us. And as we leave today, and we open the doors one last time, may their spirits also find eternal rest.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robin Wakefield Murphy, an anatomy professor at the college, and I'm going to read a poem about cadaveric donation written by a doctor, Dr. Amy Milligan of Rochester, New York, entitled Anatomy Teacher. When I touched your hands, I touched hands that had felt the chill of 94 winters, fingers that had stretched in the sunlight of as many springs. When I touched your feet, I touched feet that had walked the paths of 9 decades, toes curling and uncurling through the uncertainty of 5 wars. When I touched your arms, I touched the arms that had braced you from and embraced the world, a world I only know through historians and faded photographs. When I stared into the shell of your eyes, I saw the screen upon which a million irreplaceable scenes had been played, visions of a world rapidly changing, at once both like and unlike my own. When I held your heart in my hands, in a moment filled with awe and grace, I held a heart whose mysteries I will never know, a heart that gave me the gift of itself. When you invited me to know you, to be a guest in the house that your spirit left, you forever altered my life. My feet, with the knowledge of yours, will walk into the future carrying you with me. My hands, as they reach out to comfort and heal, will do so never forgetting the delicacy of yours. My eyes, as they sweep across the landscapes of my future, will find in it the reflections of the world I saw as yours. My heart, in the rhythm of its beating, will carry with it the stillness and wonder of your heart, lying silent in my hands. We are now going to hear some reflections about the anatomy learning experience and the cadaveric donors from our students, starting with Autumn Tobias.
right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Autumn Tobias, and I am a current third trimester student here at Northeast. It is such an honor to be standing before you all today to represent my classmates, my program, and to share our gratitude for the individuals we honor this afternoon. Today, we gather not only to remember these donors, but to celebrate the profound and selfless impact they have had on each of us. Their choice to donate their bodies to science is one of the most extraordinary acts of generosity imaginable. It is a gift that allows us to learn, to grow, and to one day serve others with the utmost respect and compassion. Each donor we worked with became our very first patient and our very first teacher. They taught us lessons that no textbook could ever provide. Through them, we learned about the beauty, complexity, and resilience of the human body. And even more importantly, we learned about humility, empathy, and the responsibility that comes with the privilege of becoming a doctor. There were moments in the room where everything would fall silent. And in those moments, the magnitude of what we were doing truly sank in. We realized that this was more than just anatomy. We weren't just studying tissue and structure, we were witnessing the miracle of life itself. We were being trusted with a person's final gift, one that is continuing to help shape who we are as future chiropractors. To the families here today, thank you. Thank you for your generosity and your trust in our program. We know that your loved ones were much more than donors. They were parents, grandparents, siblings, partners, and friends. They were people you loved deeply and people who loved you just as deeply in return. Please know that throughout our time in the lab, your loved ones were treated with the utmost care, respect, and gratitude. Every student in that room understood the magnitude of this gift. We spoke kindly, worked gently, and we never forgot that we were learning because of someone's incredible selflessness. To our donors, you are our first patients and silent mentors. Your lessons are etched only in our minds, but in our hearts. We will carry them with us throughout our careers, and we promise to honor your legacy through the way we serve others, with the same compassion and selflessness that you showed us. And to the families again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Your loved ones' generosity has changed our lives forever. Their gift will continue to ripple outward through every patient we encounter and through every act of care that we provide. We are and always will be forever grateful. Thank you.
My name is Rachel Blocker, and I am a fourth trimester student. Thank you for being here. What a tremendous honor it's been to foster my anatomical knowledge with an experience so few receive. To learn from someone's last decision to teach has been a privilege I will never forget. I will always remember how awestruck I was at the unveiling of our first donor. 4 jittery, bright, scrubbed up first trimester students not yet realizing how eye-opening this will be for them. Not yet realizing just how much every donor in that lab will gift them. They have afforded each gross anatomy student an understanding that surpasses the superficial, an understanding that goes so deep that I am confident in saying it helps us succeed as students and as future chiropractors. The unending hours we have poured into learning the subject, whether in open labs, with classmates, or with atlases spilled over our desks, will stay with us forever. Handling each donor's muscles, nerves, arteries, and veins allowed us to apply lecture material so liberally to their living context in the human body. Now that I have completed all 3 gross anatomy courses offered at Northeast, I believe that I will always look back at that period of my life fondly. I have dreamt of learning in this way since I was 16, and I haven't regretted a minute of it since. So I would like to thank those of you who are no longer with us and those who are here today, experiencing a different kind of mourning than others may understand. A kind of mourning that is uniquely preserved in memory by budding doctors who are all so incredibly grateful to be given this extraordinary opportunity. We will never forget them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Avery Fields. I'm a third trimester student here at Northeast, and I've written a little something to kind of encompass what the last year has meant to me in the Anatomy Lab. Today we gather in deep gratitude and respect for the individuals who gave the greatest gift a student could ever receive, the gift of themselves. To the donors and to their families, please know that your generosity has touched our lives in ways words can scarcely express. Through your loved one's selfless donation, I was given an experience that has profoundly shaped my education and understanding of what it means to care for others. The lessons I learned in the Anatomy Lab went far beyond muscles and nerves. They taught me compassion and reverence for the human body and life itself. Each day in the lab reminded me that behind every structure and system we were studying was once a life lived, a life full of memories, love, and compassion. It was a humbling reminder that learning medicine and the art of healing begins with gratitude and respect. This gift has given me not only knowledge, but a deep sense of humanity that will forever influence how I approach interactions with my future patients. This experience has been one of the most impactful parts of my education. It has strengthened not only my knowledge, but also my purpose as a future chiropractor and caregiver. I will carry these lessons with me for the rest of my life and into every patient interaction I have in the future. In my moments of reflection, I often found myself thinking about the incredible trust it must have taken to make such a donation. That trust has instilled in me a greater responsibility to treat every person I encounter with the same care and dignity your loved ones showed us through their final act of giving. Their impact extends far beyond the walls of the Anatomy Lab. It lives on in the hearts, hands, and minds of every student they've helped shape. To the families, again, thank you for allowing us to learn through the lives of those you loved. Their legacies live on in every student that they have guided, and in every patient we will one day help. I know that I can never give back in equal measure what they have given me, but I will forever be thankful, and I will strive to honor their gift through compassion, dedication, and care in my future as a doctor of chiropractic. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Athenia Large, the clinical anatomy resident, and I'll be leading you today through a responsive reading. Please respond after every line with "We remember you." In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember you. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember you. In the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember you. In the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember you. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember you. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember you. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember you. When we are lost and sick of heart, we remember you. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember you. As long as we live, you too shall live, for you are a part of us. We remember you.
So my mother was a gift to the University of Rochester. I am set up to be one here, which I know makes some people cringe, but I have learned in my field that I'm one who likes to be prepared. And I remember going to pick her up when we received the call about 2 years after her passing that she had been returned from when she came. And my mother's favorite place in the world was New York City, where she lived for a very long time. And I heard a small bit of her travel that at the University of R, she'd actually been sent to CUNY Medical School in New York City as a gift for their medical students, and then she came back, which I thought she would have really, really liked. So I took my mother in that nice container they give you, and we sat and we had coffee in the lobby of the U of R, wearing, as I am today, her favorite pair of earrings, knowing that's the only kind of hug you get from your loved ones is in those moments that you glimpse them in a song that reminds you of them, or in that smell that reminds you of them. But grief is constant. And when others have experienced grief and loss, it compounds, and we experience it all over again. So know that you are surrounded not only by a great cloud of witnesses, but by a room full of people who have also experienced loss and grief. So this is a blessing for everyone. May you be tender and gentle with yourself and be cared for by those who will envelop you with compassion and presence. May you know that there is so much beauty in your grief, especially when it feels messy. May you know that the depth of your grief is a measure of the love that your heart is capable of. May you cry an ocean of tears and never fear the tides of your grief. May you scream and rage and emote your pain in a safe and supportive space. May you never be judged for the power of your expression. May you be comforted by a blanket woven of love when you feel the harsh and palpable illusion of aloneness. May you remember in moments of despair, all life comes from the womb of sacred darkness, and something new will be born from this void. May you allow yourself to change. May the pain of your loss awaken in you the pulse of your humanity. May you have faith in the crucible of your soul to transform this grief into a numinous song and bring you closer to your own divinity. May your experience of loss expand your capacity to extend compassion to others. May you eventually wear your scars as luminous gems on the unfurled wings of your heart, and may you always remember the preciousness of life.